the athletic supporters. DisasterRadio.net.
Let's do it.
Coming to you live from the cut above DRN studio on storied and the very storied and inquisitive MacArthur Boulevard.
Legendary.
The legendary and
beautiful.
Noble.
Beautiful.
The majestic and enchanted MacArthur Boulevard.
Okay. That's enough.
Okay.
Enough.
All right. Coming out of Packers camp, though, here we go. And normally, I wouldn't be talking about holdouts because there's guys that hold out, like, all the time. You know, there's been a lot of holdouts just this year. Like, half the Bears team, right?
I would hold out if I was on their
Wouldn't
team,
you?
too.
Wouldn't you? Steven Jackson is still holding out, I believe, in St. Louis. I don't think they've come to terms yet. Did you know that?
Yeah. Still, he hasn't been to practice once.
No.
So.
And in Green Bay up until now, running back Ryan Grant. And like I said, I don't address these usually because they usually get fixed up. You know, we talked about the Urlacher holdout, and because that's Brian Urlacher, you sign him up. Come on, man.
Yeah.
We touched a little bit on Devin Hester because if you want a guy to be the face of your team, you can't pay him $400,000 a year.
No.
So we touch on a few of them, but we don't go into all of them. I will talk about this, though, because it affects me personally. Ryan Grant, as most of you know, is on my fantasy football team. And I'm debating whether or not to keep him. And a lot of people are saying he's a bust this year. I'm reading it in a lot of magazines. Oh, he's going to be a bust.
Why?
Well, they're saying this. And that things may change now once we get to our Favre news. Because if Favre comes back,
He's not a bust.
It's happy times as usual. They're saying Aaron Rodgers won't be able to stretch the defense. The guys will be loading the box, 8 in the box, and shutting Ryan Grant down, and he may see, you know, a bulk of the workload and just, it's silly stuff, you know, wear and tear and 8 in the box, won't be able to do it. Just, and I don't like it, but why are so many of these people saying this?
Obviously, no one thinks Aaron Rodgers can play.
Is any good? Yeah.
I don't either. Myself.
You don't think he can play?
Not real. No.
Hey, listen. Here's what I think. Assuming Brett Favre is not the starter, and we'll tell you this right now because we heard this on the way in, and we'll throw this in the mix and we'll get to Favre later. But we heard on the way in, Brett Favre is being reinstated to Green Bay, and he's coming in. Right, he's showing up tomorrow. Is that right?
Tomorrow, practice at noon.
Practice at noon. Green Bay is not going to cut him. They're actually making room on their roster to accommodate Brett Favre, and they've also announced that there's going to be an open competition for the starting quarterback job in Green Bay.
So obviously, they don't think he can play either. So.
Well, yeah, you think that means Green Bay doesn't think Aaron Rodgers can play. Let me make my argument as to why I would want Ryan Grant even if Aaron Rodgers is the starting quarterback for Green Bay.
Okay.
Because, the Packers haven't said, Brett, your job is your job again. They're saying you can come back and compete, meaning Aaron Rodgers still could be, hypothetically, the starting quarterback this year. You rolled your eyes.
Yes.
But I'm not saying he's going to be. I'm just saying it's still a possibility.
Okay.
So assuming Aaron Rodgers is starting quarterback, I would still want to keep Ryan Grant because, are you ready?
All right.
Because the wide receiving core for the Green Bay Packers averaged the highest yards after catch last season.
Mm-hmm.
That means go ahead and put 8 people in the box and let these wide receivers tear your secondary up man to man. These guys can take anybody man to man. That's the deal. Mm-hmm. I mean, and the exact same guys are back in place. And Don Driver isn't even as old as everybody thinks he is.
No.
He went for over 1,000 yards last year.
Mm-hmm. Only
Greg Jennings didn't.
Yeah.
He led the team in catches and yardage last year, but everybody thinks Greg Jennings emerged as the number one guy. He had more touchdowns. But more targets, more yards, Don Driver. This receiving core is still intact.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so if you want to make Aaron Rodgers beat you, well, that's fine. He can throw 15-yard passes. Anybody in the NFL can. It's the guy. These guys do all the damage after they get the ball in their hands. So, if you guys want to make that argument, I say, okay, fine. Put 8 guys in the box. That'll last a couple of weeks until you get torched by the amazingly talented receiving core of the Green Bay Packers, because that's what they are. These guys are incredible. See? I'm right.
I've always liked Ryan Grant.
Yeah.
You know that.
Yeah.
I'm not telling you. I've never once told you to let him go, have I?
No.
It's been Larry Johnson instead.
Yeah. But I'm keeping Larry Johnson.
I know you are.
But now, God, should we just go Favre?
No, I'm saying I don't think Aaron Rodgers is. I don't think he's going to get it in their hands every time.
Right.
Like Favre can.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Favre is mistake prone.
They are going to play the run at first. Definitely. Until he proves that he can.
Yeah, well, they're going the first couple of games, guys are going to stack the box. But I think Aaron Rodgers will respond just fine. Now, he came in last season just one time, and we don't have a large body of work to look at. But he came in one time, but that was the biggest game of the season up until that point for Green Bay. It was against Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It was wasn't that a nationally televised game, or was that on the NFL Network? I think that was NFL Network.
Yeah, but the Cowboys already said when he came in, they let up on their D.
That doesn't matter. You can't do that.
They weren't.
You
doing
can't do that.
Through like what? He was horrible.
Yeah, but you can't do that. You can't.
That's what they said.
It doesn't matter if they said that. That doesn't mean it. Oh yeah, we were really playing that hard. Like you can't. You have to be playing that hard. It's the NFL. Aaron Rodgers went out there and threw for like over 200 yards in less than a half of football.
Mm-hmm. It's one game.
Not bad. Well, I know, but it was one big game. So I think he could be capable. Because I don't think it would be hard for even an average quarterback to look good with the talent surrounding him in Green Bay.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look at the last few years. Okay, before last year, forget last season. Look at what Favre did the few years before that. He was awful.
Yeah.
He was god-awful.
But their team was awful.
Exactly.
That's why.
Even a great quarterback looked terrible in the Green Bay scheme. All of a sudden, the rest of the team becomes amazingly good, and they did.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody around Brett Favre got way better. The defense got way better. Don Driver, kind of emerged as a number one legitimate receiver. All of a sudden, Greg Jennings, a second-year superstar. And then who was the other guy? Jones, or what's it? Wait.
James Jones?
Is that it? Yeah, I think it's James Jones. He even showed up a little bit during this last season.
Donald Lee,
tight end Donald Lee.
He's still there.
Exactly. Like all these guys, and they didn't have a running game. The Packers were looking so great the first half of the season, except for their running game, which was a mess. And then Ryan Grant steps up. Mm-hmm. Bam. Everything is fine for the Packers. I'm just saying the rest of the team is so incredibly good. You don't have to be a great quarterback to win with the Packers. Aaron Rodgers could get it done.
Oh, yeah.